All right, how's everybody doing? Thank you so much, Whit, and our county commissioners who just shared with us critical pieces of collaboration. Really glad to hear from all of you. So we are reaching the midday home stretch. We will have lunch after this session. So just hang in there with us a little bit because right now we have a really exciting piece. You've heard a little bit kind of trickled in about the Keepsake Florida program. I think I've heard that a couple of times, but now we're going to get into it a little bit. Obviously we know from everything we've heard this morning that mapping our flood risk is vitally important, but we need to really understand how the environmental risks will intersect with the building condition, the mechanics, and the site. While there are checklists and inspection forms that until this past year, we were lacking in tools that specifically supported multifamily properties to review their properties and provide recommendations for mitigation. Strengthening our homes is one of my top priorities. So yesterday, I was very pleased to participate in a press conference coordinated by the Enterprise Community Partners to launch their new program, Keepsake Florida, in 3 metro areas, Miami, Orlando, and right here in Tampa Bay. Piloted in Miami in 2021, the Keepsake program created a new property inspection tool and offered technical assistance and resources to help affordable housing owners and operators assess and address threats from climate change and natural disasters. Our own CJ Reynolds and Hank Hod from Pinellas County served on the initial advisory board and recognized the benefits of bringing these resources to our region. The Keepsake Florida is a partnership among Enterprise, the cities of Miami and Orlando, the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council, the Florida Housing Coalition, and the Institute for Building Technology and Safety. Keepsake Florida was made possible with support from Truist Charitable Fund, a donor-advised fund at the Winston-Salem Foundation that is advised by Truist Bank. Enterprise expects to support at least 50 affordable housing properties in each metro area through Keepsake over the next year. That is resiliency in 150 properties in the next year. The TBRPC will support the rollout to local government members throughout our jurisdiction of Hernando, Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas, which encompasses Truist Market. We will work to expand this into other resilient coalition counties. So if you are not in one of the 4 counties, but do want to see this work done in your community, please see CJ and the Keepsake team. And in this session, we are joined by Sara Haas, a senior director at Enterprise, who will do a little introduction to the program tools and timeframe, and Mr. Sal Russo, who is a VP of property management at Carrfour Supportive Housing. He's going to give an overview of his experience using the resources to already evaluate 30 properties in Miami. And so since we're going to try to stay on track for lunch as well, if we have a little bit of time, we'll take a few questions, but don't worry if we don't, because they do have a table out in the foyer and they'll be there to answer your questions at the end. So Sara, would you like to go ahead and give your information? No? Talking about technical assistance, right? Well, would you like to just come up to the podium? We'll do that. Yeah, that works.
And then I'm going to go with it's the green button with the arrow.
It's the big green button.
The big one. Perfect. All right. Thank you, Councilmember Gabbard. Well, thank you everyone for having me here today. Really excited to join you to talk about Keepsake Florida. And hopefully to partner with many of you in the room and your owner and operator partners across the region in implementing this program. I'm here from Enterprise Community Partners. We are a national affordable housing nonprofit. I am actually in our Southeast market office based in Atlanta, but lead our work in Florida. Enterprise seeks to make home and community places of pride, power, and belonging. We do this through 3 pillars of work: increasing housing supply, advancing racial equity throughout all of our work, and building resilience and upward mobility. As noted, we are supported by the Truist Financial Corporation through this work, so a big thank you to them, and couldn't do the work without our key partners, including CJ and the Regional Planning Council. So thank you so much for your work with us. Just want to talk a bit about what the program is. So we actually launched Keepsake Miami a year ago, working with the City of Miami and other local partners, and are now expanding this across the state. The program seeks to provide tools to multifamily affordable housing owners and operators to assess the resilience of their properties to hazards associated with extreme wind, heat, flooding, health, and some operational components. So much of what we've heard about today, our tool seeks to walk owners through a series of about 60 questions, which will enable them to then identify the risks that are most prevalent in their properties. And then the tool will provide them with recommended strategies to actually then address those issues. We, in the new iteration of the program, are now offering 2 different tracks for owners and operators as they sign on to the program. One would be a self-service track. So if you have more capacity experience in this area, you're able to sign up for the program, receive access to an online building assessment tool, password protected. The information is yours. And you can walk through that assessment, receive a report that is specific to your property that then has links to other resources and guides the enterprise and our partners offer. However, if you want more support, we are offering a learning collaborative option, which will offer training and technical assistance through consultants that we have engaged. Those consultants will actually help you not only in doing the assessments, but then in thinking about the what now, which Sal will be able to talk a little bit. You've done the assessment, great. You have all these recommendations. How do you actually implement? How do you incorporate these into your ongoing maintenance? How do you think about these recommendations in terms of a larger recapitalization or rehabilitation of your property? And so we'll be offering that learning collaborative 3 times. The first collaborative will kick off on June 8th and is available for application now. Then we'll offer it again in August and then again in October. So we'll have 3 opportunities to work with property owners. I'm going to now share a quick video, which is going to give you an overview of the program. See if this works. Success.
Thanks to the support of the Truist Charitable Fund, a donor-advised fund at the Winston-Salem Foundation advised by Truist, Enterprise Community Partners, the City of Miami, the City of Orlando, Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council, the Florida Housing Coalition, and IBTS have developed Keepsake Florida to equip affordable multifamily property developers, owners, and operators with tools to assess their buildings' resilience to climate change and natural disasters, and provide them with actionable strategies and funding guidance to address these vulnerabilities. Enterprise has partnered with the Institute for Building Technology and Safety to provide an easy-to-use, robust online interface for users to access the Keepsake Florida Building Protect with BitQM tool. Building Protect with BitQM incorporates hazards data typical to the region, allowing users to easily and competently perform property-specific resilience audits. First, use Portfolio Protect on your suite of buildings to determine which ones to focus on. Second, register for the Building Protect program to get access to the Building Protect tool via the BitQM platform and complete the building assessment. Finally, receive a report with mitigation strategies to build your property's resilience. Upon logging in to Building Protect with BitQM, your building records are already available and ready for you to begin the assessments. Open the intake dashboard and start answering questions. Once all questions are complete, simply submit your form for review. Your report will come back with highlighted risks, recommended strategies, and guidance for improving the building's resilience. It is accessible on any tablet or computer, allowing you to use it where and when you need it. It safely and confidentially stores all your project information in one place, including forms, results, and recommendations. Information can be readily organized according to each individual user's needs. You can manage multiple properties that are known as projects, and information related to each project can be stored and maintained among a variety of users. Guidance strategies are informative rather than prescriptive, allowing the users to develop solutions that are appropriate for them. Once you've completed the form, it will be submitted for review by IBTS for accuracy and completeness. Share information such as reports, pictures, and plans with colleagues and other stakeholders. With the report at hand, you're ready to start the most important phase, rehabilitating your building to protect it and keep residents safe. Building Protect with BitQM is available to registered Keepsake Florida users. Apply for Keepsake Florida to help keep Florida safe for generations to come.
All right. I'm actually going to skip over some of the tool details in the interest of time. However, do want to offer that we can work with CJ and the Regional Planning Council to offer demos and walkthroughs, as well as to answer other specific questions that folks may have. And of course, I'll be here the rest of today to answer questions. One thing I just want to put out there before I jump into this quick case study is, for everyone in the room, we are looking to partner with owners and operators of affordable housing. And as people have talked about the typology of stock and properties in their region or in their counties and their localities, this is everything from a 4-unit mom and pop owned property all the way to our more traditional tax credit subsidized properties that you may see in your region, as well as the large NOAA properties. So we're looking for connections to owners and operators, would love to work with them, connect with you to talk more about how we can bring the tool into your community. And definitely the local partnerships are really critical. And when we roll this program out in Miami, we're working a lot with our traditional mission-aligned nonprofit affordable housing developers, some mission-aligned for-profits. And where we've been able to engage with the small private owners, it's really been through local relationships. That's how we've gotten connected to individuals that happen to own affordable properties in the core of Miami that want to look at how they can strengthen their properties. Another piece I do want to highlight is in Miami, the city of Miami did allocate $500,000 in CDBG funds towards improvements being made in small properties that have gone through the Keepsake program. We're still working through that process. I will say, working with mom and pop owners, it's a much slower process, a lot more capacity building and support needed. But where we can align this program and these assessments with your existing funding sources for affordable housing, all the better. This is essentially a preservation program. So if you have resources and funding going towards the preservation of affordable housing, we'd love to talk about how we can support folks that are applying for those resources and accessing this tool as they're developing their scopes and their plans for rehab. So I just want to give a quick highlight of some work from Miami-Dade County. Miami-Dade County, through their Public Housing and Community Development Department, participated in the Keepsake program in Miami. And they actually conducted assessments of 40 county-owned buildings. This is not their public housing. They have other community development-owned multifamily properties. They completed these assessments in partnership with their Office of Resilience, building managers through their property management company, a general contractor, as well as the public housing and community development team. So it was really a collaborative effort across the county. We then held webinars with property management and staff from the county to walk through the assessments, answer questions, provide additional support. And then they've actually been able to use those results to apply for 2 different sets of funding. One for Resilient Florida grant application, in which they were receiving funding to harden one of the multifamily properties that has been especially impacted by past storms that they did complete an assessment on. We're able to use those results to access those resources. And 2, they've actually been able to leverage the results and the program for another grant application that will bring in $2 million to the county that they'll be utilizing for additional staff support, energy efficiency assessments, and other capacity. So just want to highlight a way that it's been utilized locally in another part of Florida. Again, would love to talk with you guys further about opportunities to bring this here. So we are launching, we launched yesterday officially. Applications are open now. Our first cohort will kick off on June 8th. We'll have 3 trainings over that 2-month period, be connecting participants with our TA providers and offering support as they think through how to put their results into action. And then again, we'll offer 2 more collaborative options in August and October. This is our website, enterprisecommunity.org/keepsafeflorida. We do have some fact sheets that we'll have available for folks in the back, and I'll be around the rest of the day to answer questions as well. So I will now pass to Sal. Thank you.
Still morning. Good morning, everyone. I wanted to check. I'm not sure if Commissioner Cruz is still here. Is he? I have a Chick-fil-A downstairs from my apartment, and it is amazing. So I just wanted to share that, so I can certainly concur with that. So my name is Salvatore Russo, and I'm the VP of Property Management at Carrfour Supportive Housing. The operative word there is supportive housing. We do permanent supportive housing in the Miami-Dade area. Okay, so while I'm new to the state of Florida, I've been doing permanent supportive housing, actually deep supportive housing for the last 25 years, having done that in San Francisco, California. So let's add some context in terms of where the assessment tool was used. So we own and operate approximately, well, actually just over 2,000 units of affordable housing that go as far south as Homestead and Florida City, and then go as far north as Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and most recently we had a project in Melbourne. And I think that there's actually an embryo of an idea of a possible project in Polk County, but we're not sure about that yet. At any rate, the majority of our properties, however, are located in the city of Miami, and the properties that we concentrated on the front end of this project were properties that were located in Miami. So in terms of what I could say about the assessment tool is actually really super easy to use. So long as you're really deliberate in terms of who you ask to go out and do those assessments, you're going to want to make sure that the person who's being asked to do those assessments is the person who probably well, for one thing, knows the most about the property, but also knows who to ask for, things that aren't apparent. There's going to be a lot of things in that particular assessment that you're going to run into that a maintenance manager or even the property manager might not be able to know themselves, unless, of course, there was a CNA for the property done recently. Or in some of our properties, we were able to just reach out to our development team, and they were recent construction. So we just says, hey, what's the deal with this roof? What kind of roof is it? Is it strapped? What can you tell me about the foundation? So on and so forth. But at any rate, you want to be really deliberate in terms of who you request to do these assessments, and the information that you make available to them is also super important. Okay. In terms of what you do after the information is in the assessment tool and the report that comes out from it, I got to tell you, one of the things that was super helpful about this particular assessment tool, especially if you do a number of properties at once, is it allows you to, look across all of the reports and see where there's, opportunities to reach out to contractors in order to go out and get them to come out and give bids. So, I mean, I know that a lot of you folks are probably in the development world, so you know how hard it is to get a contractor to come out and give a bid. So you're going to want to make the request as appealing as possible. So going to someone and saying, hey, listen, I want you to come out and put a generator at this one property located in Little River Bend is probably not going to be as attractive as coming out to them and saying, hey, I'm going to want you to put out a generator and I want you to give me a bid at these 5 properties. And the same goes for, portable flood barriers and so on and so forth. I mean, there's going to be quite a number of things that you will see across the entire assessment at multiple properties that you're going to be able to combine. Another thing that these reports actually give you the opportunity to do is when you're coming up with capital improvement budgets or going to funders in order to get money, is that you can put together a really nice proposal for the funding and say, hey, listen, this is this report that we had put together and these photographs here, and this is what came of it. And what can you do about getting us some money for us to make these repairs or enhancements? And I'm watching the clock to make sure that I don't go over. Good. All in all, I think that the tool was actually really, really helpful. It's actually very user-friendly. The thing that I would also suggest that you do is rather than printing out the form, because it does come with a PDF form that you can actually print out and take with you to the site and then write down the answers to the question. It's probably better to get yourself an iPad or a tablet and go through it online. And one of the reasons that I say this is because as you answer these questions, yes and no, other questions come up. And the only reason why I suggest this is when I first did it, I just printed a PDF and I ended up going to the property and wrote down the answers. And then when I brought the piece of paper back to my office and I started kind of writing in the answers as I started answering the questions, follow-up questions came up. So it's just sort of a helpful tip to keep in mind and to not make the same mistake that I did on the first go run. But I will say that Enterprise did offer us some technical assistance, which was really, really helpful in terms of giving us access to folks who were able to help us on the first few go rounds. And for that, we're actually really, really grateful. And that's all I prepared for. Yeah? Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your lunch.
Well, thank you, Sarah. That was such a helpful, quick overview of what I expect is a very robust program. So Sal, I also wanted to thank you for traveling from Miami to give us the kind of boots on the ground kind of look at the program. I think that's very helpful as well, hopefully to everyone. So in watching the time, I think that we maybe have a moment for a few questions. Does anybody have some questions for our panel here? And we'll take a few. And then if we don't get to your question, just remember that they do have a table out in the foyer and they will be out there to answer more questions, or you can always follow up with them. So who has a question at this point? Ren is coming to you with a microphone.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Sal, after you looked at all those buildings and used the tool, did you find anything really expensive or anything emergency, or is it things that you can just put into your regular maintenance and repair plan?
I think that's actually a really great question. And the one thing that came up a number of times, certainly with the properties that we didn't recently develop ourselves, was the need to have backup power. So the need to get generators online. So that was, one of the things that came up on a few occasions, I would say.
All right, great. Next question. Anything for Sara, just specific to the program, or anything about how it works, how to get started? Ah, there we go.
Why, thank you, Gladys. It's almost like we planted you in the audience. Just kidding. So the program is free of charge. We're supported by Truist to offer the program. We're able to offer the tools, the training, and the technical assistance at no cost to property owners and operators. What I will highlight, though, is then the improvements are not free, of course. And so again, want to highlight the need for resources towards strengthening and hardening of affordable multifamily properties, whether through specific targeted resource or through prioritization in existing affordable housing funding sources that you all may have in your local governments.
So that would lead me, I guess, to a question as a local elected official. And we have plenty of people here from the city of St. Pete and people that are doing this work and looking for ways to help our property owners. Will you be working with the local municipalities in the regions to build maybe a database of tools and resources for funding that are available?
Yes, so we will offer a funding guide as part of the Keepsake program, as well as through our partnership with the Florida Housing Coalition, be directing folks to existing funding resource guides that they offer. But Enterprise is a national affordable housing nonprofit. We do have a capital division that spends a lot of time helping local partners develop funding resources. So we're also always available and happy to have discussions around programming of funding sources, how to align your funding sources with other private capital that may be out there. One thing just to highlight, if some of these improvements are part of a larger recapitalization, or you're then accessing some of your more traditional sources. But for some of the one-offs and also small properties, taking on debt is really challenging. So folks are really looking for subsidy or grants or philanthropic resources to make some of these improvements.
Very good. Time for one more question. Yes, I see one right here.
This might, well, this is a pretty layered question, so we can follow up outside if we need to, but I'm interested in terms of the disaggregated data in terms of frontline communities, like of respondents, in terms of those most vulnerable populations, their user experience through the process from Mr. Russo of your implementation.
Sure. So we are working with owners and operators. This will be developers, property managers, and it has been everything from kind of mom and pop owners all the way up to more, large companies that have, significant staff on site. So we can talk further. What I will say is when we worked with the smaller kind of individual owners that live in these local communities and happen to own, say, a 4-unit building, they might live in one of the units. The experience has been that we really need to provide very hands-on support in doing the assessments, in analyzing results and thinking through action plans, but then also in determining how to navigate the funding sources that may exist, because these are people who don't live in our affordable housing world and don't know how to navigate the public funding sources, may not also have the balance sheet and some of the financial kind of standing that they need to access a lot of resources. So one example of an effort in Miami, we're actually now partnering with the Miami Rebuilding Together organization, and they are actually now working with one of the private owners that we engaged through Keepsake, who has gone through the assessment program. They're now working with him to bring their contractor out to assess his property and develop that scope of work, and then guide him through applying for available resources. So that's something we found that is going to be really necessary as we're trying to reach some of these small owners with properties in community.
All right, very good. Well, thank you both so much. Very exciting program, and we look forward to continuing to work with both of you on making Florida more safe. So thank you so much.